Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Digitally Immune podcast. This podcast is for those of you who want to get more out of life. More of passion, more success, more time, more freedom, more aliveness. But you know you're bleeding your potential to a screen. From endlessly scrolling to binge watching YouTube to Instagram, and you just wish things were different. You wish you had more control. You wish you had more aliveness. You wish you had more of your potential put into action.
In this podcast, you will learn the no bullshit way to feeling free again, to gaining back control over these devices and platforms that are all around you, and to live a life full of freedom and focus.
And look, we know this is not a short video for you to watch, but we value your time so preciously. And the things we're going to share with you today are the fruits of countless hours of research and experience. And we guarantee you that once you apply these methods we're going to share with you today, you're going to gain back countless hours in your day and years in your life. Now, our goal is to make sure you get more time than you put in. Now, you tell me, is this a time investment worth making? If it is, then we're happy to have you with us. Thank you for your trust, and we promise to over-deliver as always. So let's dive in.
Let's start with the backstory of today's topic. A couple of weeks ago, we were having brunch with friends, and we were talking about our vision for Digitally Immune. And our friend asked this question: how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer was, only one, but this light bulb has to want to change.
I remember when we were sitting, I was like, I don't fully agree with this idea, but the core message is true. When a person has the will to change, a true desire to change, they will change.
Exactly. Like anybody here beside me has given advice to someone you love over and over and over again, but they just can't seem to take it. Like this gets us to today's topic. Today, we want to talk about how to get yourself to change. What makes us want to change in the first place? What makes us change from, I should start a new diet, I should reduce my screen time, I should stop smoking, I should stop drinking, to I must do this. Mm-hmm. But first, let's recap. In our last episode, we talked about what makes people do what they do, what drives them, what makes a habit so addictive. And we talked about the 6 human needs that we learned through this event, an $8,000 event. I'm curious to know, did you watch our last episode? Did you take the time to check what are your 2 primary needs that are driving all of your behaviors? And did you see the link between your digital behaviors and what needs they fill for you? Like, let's take an example of a digital behavior that people can't seem to shake off. If you go for this behavior whenever you feel bored and tired and you're looking for fun and entertainment, then what need would it be filling?
Uncertainty and variety.
Exactly. What about a habit that you would go for whenever you feel anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, and you're just looking for something predictable, like this feeling that you want a sense of control over what's happening around you?
Definitely certainty.
Yes. What about a habit that makes you feel like you stand out, like you matter, like you have meaning in your life? Then what need would it be filling?
It would be significance.
Exactly. And what about a habit that would make you feel connected to others?
Love and connection.
What about if you go for this habit whenever you feel like you're learning something new, or you're filling your curiosity, or you're growing?
Definitely growth.
100%. And what about a habit that you would go for whenever you feel like you're contributing, for example, reposting and resharing for a certain cause?
That would be contribution.
Yeah. It's so important to clarify this, because to change, first you need to know what habit you want to change or what behavior you want to change, but also what needs it's filling for you.
Like for me, it was the 2 things that I wanted to work on in my life were excessive scrolling on Instagram and binge watching on YouTube. And I'm being very precise here in the behavior and the platform, because the behavior needs to be clear and the platform needs to be clear, because a behavior could differ from a platform to another or even on the same platform. And once I understood exactly what I want to change, I was able to dive deep to understand what needs are driving each of these behaviors. So clarity is so important.
Exactly. You went through this in details in our previous episode. Today, we want to take it a step further. Today, we want to talk about how to get yourself to change, how to make this change a must. And to illustrate this, there is a story that I really like that Jim Rohn tells in one of his audio programs. It's a story of a lady he's met in New York. She's president of this company. She makes big money. She was young and with a young family. I don't think she finished high school. And Jim Rohn asks her, how did you get here? This is a tough business. You make big money. You didn't graduate from high school. What happened? And she said, let me tell you part of the story. Years ago, one day, I asked my husband for $10. And he said, what for? And she said, by the end of that day, I promised myself to never, ever ask for money again. And she said, yes, I do make big money. Yes, I am vice president. Yes, I did not graduate from high school. Yes, I am young. But I promise you, Mr. Rohn, that from that day until this, I've never asked for money again.
I remember that story.
And she said, I looked for opportunity, found it. I started taking the classes. I started learning the skills, and I completely changed my life. And I'm sure that if we ask her, she would say that that day was the day changing her situation became a must for her. This is where we want to go today.
Yes, this same story you're talking about reminds me of a very similar story we heard when we were in Las Vegas last year, and we met that woman called Annie Grace. Remember her?
Of course.
First, she was an alcoholic for more than 10 years, and she's now helping thousands of people get out of alcohol addiction. The moment where it became no way, I need to get out of this, was when she came back home, completely drunk, as she's been for so many nights. And she asked her kid for a hug. She asked him to come and hug her or kiss her, if I remember exactly what her words. And she said, I called him to come kiss me. And then he told her, I don't want to kiss you, mommy. And she asked him, why? And he told her, because you smell funny and your teeth are black. Remember when she told us the story, she was crying. And it is that story, she says, that made her say, no more. I'm losing love from my child, which is the most important thing for me. And just like that woman you just told the story of, there's a moment, there's an experience that people go through and that make them say, no more.
I get goosebumps when you tell this, when I remember Annie Grace and her story with her son. And so this is the concept of leverage. It's that moment that you turn your life around. It's that point where people say, I hit rock bottom. It's that moment where you draw a line in the sand and you never go back. Not another minute, not another second of this.
Yeah, exactly. Often it's a combination of thoughts, emotions, reflections, and the entire experience. Do you remember a decision you made in your life and you never went back on it? Something that you did and you changed forever in your life? Maybe you got out of a toxic relationship. Maybe you lost weight and you never gained it back. Maybe you decided to never stress again in your life. Something that you did and you never went back on it. For example, that woman that was vice president in New York, she started this decision after a moment of humiliation. That was her leverage. Annie Grace was a moment of loss of love and connection. There is a moment or an experience that you go through. It's everything that happens in your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your reflections that make you say, no more. Can you remember a time where you made a decision like that and you never went back on it? Now, I know this is hard to remember for so many of us, but let's pretend you can remember. What happened inside you that made you change? What happened?
And today, we're going to help you find your leverage to change these annoying behaviors that you want to change and go in the direction that you want. So let's take the example of that smoker that Tony Robbins talks about in his podcast. That guy smoked for years and he tried to quit smoking for years, but he never could. This guy was driven primarily by the need for certainty. What needs was smoking filling for him? First, certainty. Why? Because every time he went to smoke, after a few puffs, he breathed slower, he felt a sense of calm, he felt good feelings because it's like doing breath work when you smoke. So this calm breathing makes you slow down. And so he felt this certainty that whenever he goes for a smoke, he's going to feel good.
Yep.
Second, he was also feeling his need for variety because he's going for a smoke break. So he's taking a pause from his boring job or his exhausting job, and he's just taking a fresh air, now feeling his need for uncertainty.
Yeah, it allowed him to change his state.
Yes. And third, it was also feeling his need for connection because when he was going for a smoke break, he's catching up with colleagues over coffee, over chit chat. And so now his brain made the link like, whenever I smoke, I'm feeling my need for connection.
Yeah.
Now, 10 years down the line, this guy starts coughing. Now, remember, his primary need is certainty, to feel like he can live a life worry-free, to feel like he can predict what's going to happen, to feel like he's in control. What happens when he starts coughing? Cough after cough, day after day, he starts getting anxious. He starts getting scared, like what's going to happen? Why is he coughing? He feels like he's losing control over his health. He's losing control over his state. And once you see it, once you see that this behavior is making you lose the need you value most, you can't unsee it. You just can't ignore it. A guy who has tried to stop smoking for 10 years suddenly stops smoking and never goes back.
Yeah.
Why? Because now he sees that this behavior is threatening the need he values most. This is what he got instant leverage with this pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Leverage is exactly what you called. Like, he lost the feeling of certainty that he valued the most by continuing the same behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about you, Maria? Can you share a time where you found leverage and you used leverage to change a digital behavior?
For sure. Like, as I said, there was two things that I primarily wanted to work on and to not to do again. One of them was scrolling on Instagram.
Yes.
As I explained in the previous episode, scrolling for me was feeling the need for variety mostly, for fun, for entertainment. When I needed a break, when I needed to unwind after work, it was like this rewarding, fun, entertaining thing whenever I'm bored. Now, I realized with time that there's another behavior on Instagram that I'm doing, and that is filling a different need. So it wasn't uncertainty or variety. What I was sometimes doing on Instagram, I was sometimes filling my need for certainty through what we now call doom scrolling. So I would find myself in certain periods of life where there's a conflict or there's a war or some accident. I would find myself going on Instagram because I'm feeling some anxiousness, and I would find myself watching reel after reel, story after story, because I'm looking for some certainty, some control, some predictability. And I would fool myself into believing that if I watch more, if I consume more of that graphic content, I'm gonna know what's gonna happen, or I'm gonna be able to predict or be able to protect my family or make the right choices.
Yes.
Now that is completely different than scrolling on Instagram for the need of fun. It's not fun. It's doom scrolling. It's not fun. It's driven by a sense of control, anxiousness. Now in today's world, there's so many people also doom scrolling because of what's happening in the US with ICE, or for example, what happened at the end of the year last year with the fire in Switzerland. There's always some event that's making a lot of people doom scroll. Now, with time, how did I find my leverage against this? With time, I realized that there's a pattern, and the pattern goes like this. And I noticed it because I was doing episodes of doom scrolling, heavy doom scrolling for days, sometimes weeks, multiple times in my life. For example, in 2019, when the revolution happened in Lebanon, I was doom scrolling. In 2020, when the port explosion happened, again. In 2021, when COVID happened, countless days, constantly checking what's happened. Did anything new happen? How many millions died today? Constantly. In 2022, when the Ukraine war started. In 2023, when the Gaza war started. Every year, there was some sort of war or conflict that caused me to doom scroll. And this is just the major ones. I'm not talking about the small events.
Yes, I was gonna say you're lucky if it's if in your case it's once per year. Some people have it daily, weekly, because the news live on negative news. Like this is how the business model works. So yeah. Sorry,
for sure. And so with time, I realized there's a pattern here. I'm looking for certainty through doom scrolling, but I'm not getting it. What is happening is the following. One, an event happens a conflict, a war, an accident that makes me doom scroll a lot, like so many people. And it interrupts what I'm doing or kind of makes it delayed. Okay? And remember that the crazy thing about today's world is that you don't just see the news, you see graphic videos, you see comments on the comments of the commentary, like endless videos. So the event happens and there's so many videos out there, extreme videos. Second, crazy, but soon enough, the hype goes down. Everybody forgets what happened, as if nothing happened. It's a bit crazy. Like whether it's a war or a conflict, governments go back to what they're doing. People forget and they move on to the next thing to talk about.
Sad but true.
Sad but true. But that usually is the same thing that happened every year. People forget, move on. And the third thing that happened each time was that I would have a reality check. And I would tell you, I would ask you, is this normal? Like, I interrupted everything in my life. The stuff I'm working on, the business I'm working on, the projects. I lost sleep many times. I couldn't eat well. Everything got delayed. My health got affected. My business got affected. Like, a reality check would tell me, like, why did I do all of this? What was the point? I was doing this for the need for certainty, to control, to predict. I was fooling myself into believing that if I consume more, I'll be more informed. It's good to be informed. It's very good to be an informed citizen. But doom scrolling or scrolling is definitely not the way to get informed. And people fool themselves today in believing this is the way to get informed. Time after time, year after year, I realized this pattern. And I remember the day I said no more was, I think it was around 2024, and Israel was throwing thousands of bombs each day on Lebanon. And I was so scared for my family because they're all still living there.
And you weren't there.
And I wasn't there. I'm in France. And so I remember every few minutes I would pick up the phone and like, where did the bombs hit today? Who died today? What happened today? And I couldn't focus. It lasted more than a month. I couldn't focus at all. Every 5 minutes, I'm picking up my phone. I wake up. The first thing I pick up the phone. What happened when I'm asleep? Where did the bombs hit today? At some point, I stopped. I'm like, this has happened so many times. It's ridiculous at this point. It's really ridiculous. And so I was like, no. I'm not going to let this happen again. I remember I wrote on a piece of paper and I put next to my desk this piece of paper. I hanged it on the wall. And it said, when you scroll, they win. They want you to be unsuccessful. They want you to be delayed. They want you to be in a bad shape, your health, because you won't be able to fight injustice or be reliable for the people you care about when you scroll and consume excessively. When you scroll, they win. And I wrote this and I hanged it next to my wall. I still have the paper at home. I removed it now because I'm not doing that. I would read that every time I wanted to pick up the phone. Because at the end of the day, Nicole, who's paying the price? If you think about it, who is really paying the price when bad things happen in the world? Other than the people who are directly affected, like the victims of the violence or the people included in the situation, who's paying the price? It's us. It's me with my time. It's all of us consuming endlessly. And when did our consumption actually lead to change? When? Being an informed citizen can happen through so many different ways than doom scrolling. When did our consumption or our loss of time change the world? The governments kept doing whatever they were doing. Everybody continued doing whatever they were doing. And so the people paying the price the most, just like me with my time, are us doom scrolling. So that was the leverage point for me. It's the moment I realized I'm looking for certainty through doom scrolling and I'm not getting it. I'm looking for predictability and I'm not getting it. And I wrote that paper and it was this big moment of anger. Like, no way. I want to be there when my family needs me in case something happens to them. I want to be reliable. I want to not have my success or my health in a bad shape. I want to be that person I can rely on in case things happen. And so that was my leverage point.
Exactly. And just like I was saying about that smoker, like once you see that your behavior is taking away your need instead of giving it to you, you just can't ignore it anymore.
Exactly. It's that clarity.
Yeah.
You're looking for something, but you're reaping the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're talking about situations where it's an end of the world event.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. Once per year is like the minimum that we can have, but depending on in which country you are based or which countries you follow, you will have more end of the world events. It's also now becoming even as common for people to doom scroll even without an end of the world event.
Yeah.
I remember one time your friend was telling you, I need to doom scroll. The world is crazy. We live in a crazy world, in a mad world. There's a lot of creeps out there and a lot of violent people out there. And so I need to doom scroll. I need to check every Reddit thread. I need to follow every tweet to protect myself. And she was talking with such passion, like it's so obvious for her.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember. I never saw somebody this convinced of this.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I understood her because she was living with this perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's now backed by science. Now even scientists are talking about how doom scrolling is normal scientifically. I'll explain. There's Dr. Aditi Nerukar, who is a stress expert and a professor at Harvard, who says that as women, we are hypervigilant. We constantly scan for danger. And so it's normal to go for doom scrolling to know how to protect ourselves. And the more we doom scroll, the more we feel the need to doom scroll even more. So it's like a snowball effect.
True.
And there's also Dr. Richard Mollica, who's a director at Harvard as well. And he talks also about how women are mostly affected by doom scrolling, because most of the news out there about violence is violence against women and violence against children. All the graphic content is about, you see women and children being hurt. And so as women, we go for doom scrolling to calm our anxiety, to feel the sense of control over what's happening. Like if I know what's happening, maybe I have a sense of control. But actually, it's that same act that's triggering the anxiety. So yes, it's sad to say that we need to be hypervigilant in this world. There are places that are unsafe and situations that are unsafe, but consuming more content just makes us more anxious and not in any way safer.
That's so true. Whether we're women or men, whether there's an event, a conflict, war or not, we are all looking for this need for certainty, but we're trying to get it through the wrong medium, because doom scrolling will not in any way make us feel any more certain or get any predictability or control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maria, I'm gonna put you under the spot here. I think you know what's coming.
Yes, he asked me.
So here it is. I have here in this envelope an extract of your diary, your most personal, vulnerable, private diary. And and I asked you to bring this extract today because it captures you in a moment of pain and leverage.
Mm.
And I think it's very valuable to share with our audience because it really perfectly illustrates what we're talking about. I would like you to read this part.
It was hard for me to say yes to this. But as you said, it's a perfect way to illustrate leverage, a moment of incredible anger and pain, and it's all written down in paper here. But before I start reading, for context, to let our audience know, so this was written at a time where I was hyper-focused. I was going through a period where I decided to do two big goals. And I was like, I'm going to do everything to not be distracted. I changed my setup at home. I changed my room. I even removed all the books. And because I didn't want to look at the titles and even let my mind wander for a second in that book. I didn't want any distractions. I was super focused and everything was going so well. On track for like 2 months and a half. Everything was going so well. This is just to tell you in what state I was when I wrote this. Hyper-focused, very proud of myself, very happy, on track.
And in momentum.
And in momentum. And then one day, I heard in my entourage that there's violence happening in the US. And I'm not informed of this. I'm not checking the news. I'm not watching anything.
By the way, just to let you know, we barely watch the news. So we always know the news a bit late and through people we know.
Yes. And if we need to be informed about something, we just either grab the newspaper or we go into the Google section of the news to be informed. And we do it in specific setups, specific places. The mistake I've done there was I was like, I'm curious. What are they talking about? So that night, I took my phone, brought it into bed, which is the first mistake.
And then like alarm.
And then I started doom scrolling or scrolling at 10 p.m. in bed for what's happening in the US. And that doom scrolling took from 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. And during that time, the content started with graphic videos, and then it went to one-sided content that is anti-Trump, and then extreme videos, as always happens in doom scrolling. The loop becomes even more and more worse. I started getting videos of the end of the world, World War III, anxious videos, more graphic content. At some point at 1:30 a.m., I was like, I need to stop. I'm already very pissed at myself for doing this. Like, why did I allow myself to spend 3 hours and a half doom scrolling again? And so I was like, no. This is such a critical time in my life. I'm doing something I'm so happy. Like, why am I interrupting my progress like this? And so I removed the phone. I'm like, go to bed, sleep. It's 1:30 a.m., sleep. I put my head on the pillow, and I remember I would be trying to sleep, and then I would feel in my heart, fast heartbeats. And it would wake me up. I'm like, what is happening? I would try to sleep again. Fast heartbeats again. It wakes me up. And that was so weird to me because, like, what's happening? Later did I understand this is what they call a delayed stress response. And heart palpitations or increased heart rates are part of delayed stress response, like how our body reacts to stress, but in a delayed way, after a couple of minutes or couple of hours or sometimes weeks. I was reacting to the stress that I was watching, but a little bit delayed when I was trying to sleep. And then I would wake up, and at some point I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I do this? I want to sleep. And I remember telling myself, let's do breath work. Try to sleep, wake up from heartbeats. Nothing worked. I tried praying. And at some point I asked myself, like, what are you thinking about? Is anything on your mind? Is anything stressing you? No.
Yeah, so is it overthinking making you staying late?
No. There was nothing. There was nothing stressing me in my life, except all the stuff I just consumed.
No wonder.
But is there anything stressing me? Nothing. No. I was like, okay, let's keep trying. And I went it was from 1:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. I was trying to sleep, and I couldn't. One, I was already pissed why I scrolled this much. And second, I'm now getting pissed at why I can't sleep. And so I woke up at 2:30 a.m. angry. And I took the pen and paper, my journal, and I started writing for like an hour. And this is the result of it. So this is the context you should be aware of. And it perfectly illustrates a moment of leverage, of great pain and anger because of a digital behavior that I hated. And just a heads up before I read this, when I'm not always nice with myself when I'm writing in my journal, especially when I'm angry. So
for sure,
you have to bear with me my language. Okay?
I'm gonna give a drum roll.
All right. This is exactly how I spoke to myself. Hey, Maria, do you need a reminder of how bad it is to lose sleep time? And for what? Scrolling? You've allowed scrolling to mess your sleep? Do you like this increased anxiety that you feel right now? Or you even don't feel? Anyway, your body, your increased heart rates in bed are the proof that you do feel it. One day you sleep at 9 p.m. and one day at 2 a.m. and then you wonder why your sleep is so disrupted and why your health is decreasing. Like, I'm stating the obvious to you by now. Do you need a reminder? Let's have a quick reminder of all the impacts of doom scrolling. What do you think? Let's focus the second day. Decreased gray matter in your brain. You basically become less smart with time. Decreased ability to make links and connections in your brain the second day. Decreased creativity and general fatigue. Decreased ability to control and regulate your emotions. You tend to feel more impatient towards others, take things more personally, especially in sales. Decreased health, more gut pain, neck pain, diseases, and a shorter life. For what? All of that. Because you think doom scrolling is giving you a sense of certainty, of control. Oh my God, I have to know what's going on in the world to protect myself and others and maybe predict what's going to happen. Well, the truth is, You are losing certainty and control by consuming more. You will never know what's going to happen by consuming like this, Maria. The world will always be a mess and it will keep turning in cycles. With this behavior of doom scrolling at night, you're losing certainty over your health and over your ability to succeed because you can't focus or get shit done properly on time. And eventually you're gonna lose certainty over everything that matters to you, including your partner, your friends, your family, because nobody wants to hang around a loser, a person that keeps giving excuses over why they are delayed, a person who keeps breaking promises and can't be reliable. You see, doom scrolling doesn't give you any certainty over anything, Maria. It's fake. A fake sense of control. What's really happening here is that you're losing control. And I know this is hard to hear, but I feel it. I don't want to ignore this or dim it. In this state of what the fuck did I just do? In this state of I hate myself for doing this, I want to say no more. I want to scream it out loud, no more. Look at what this doom scrolling has cost you. Do you feel your anxious heartbeats at night? You can't sleep? Do you feel your exhausted eyes from all that blue screen light? And I would feel it. Does your neck feel stiff? Or does your back hurt from that uncomfortable position you stayed in for hours while doom scrolling? Does your brain hurt as if there's something that fried it? Are all your thoughts all over the place and you can't concentrate on one thing? Do you wish you only thought about things that truly mattered, like your business, or got creative, exciting ideas on how to expand it? But instead, your brain drifts away into random weird thoughts, like how to build an underground bunker to protect yourself and your loved ones in World War III. Such a random idea I would get. And you wonder why you're not locked in. You wonder why each task you set yourself takes you 3 times, 4 times the amount of time you initially dedicated for it. Why you don't make enough progress. Why you feel shitty about yourself and you keep pushing yourself to get up, to feel better. This is the price you're paying. And it hurts. I know it hurts. There's no denying it. Because I'm hurting. This is not fucking acceptable nor normal. This is the price we're paying for doom scrolling all the latest news out of fear. Or scrolling endlessly for fun because we're bored. Or gaming endlessly because we're avoiding our life. Or binge watching YouTube or Netflix to get entertained. Or staying connected because we need love and connection in our life. Just a fucking hug instead of a virtual one. Or resharing content and fighting with people online because we're missing a sense of purpose in our life and we think this is how we contribute. All of these shitty behaviors that we can't break, that we keep saying, it's not always harmful, is costing us our life, our potential, our time, our years. Do you see it? What do you think happens if you continue this behavior? There's a better way to live. Off the screen. Use technology to create, to save time, to change the world positively. But don't let technology use you. You're better than doom scrolling. Now, I know it's not easy. These addictive platforms have thousands of engineers that design them in a way to keep us watching, consuming, and they're pouring billions on them each day to keep them forever attractive. Yes, I know this, Maria. I know it's not easy. But playing the victim will not help you. It just won't. Nobody's gonna have mercy on you. You have to save yourself. You have to embrace this pain you feel at night after spending hours of your life scrolling or watching. Feel it, embrace it, don't ignore it, don't run away from it, because in this state of extreme pain, of upset, of intensity is where things get wired in your brain. It's how you change. So here in this state of pain, I want to scream no more, and I really wanted to scream it, but I couldn't. It was the middle of the night. I want to yell it from the top of my lungs, no more bleeding my potential to a screen. No more wasting precious time I'll never get back. No more being fooled or manipulated or tricked. I now understand that this is a game of fake, full of delusions. Delusions of control in a world that keeps dealing with a crisis after another. Delusions of love and connection, that you can't feel the warmth of it. Delusions of fun and entertainment, that you forget most of it after 5 minutes or 5 months of consuming it. Whereas real memories never fade. That's true entertainment. So don't fool yourself into believing you're getting something out of it. That it's a harmless habit. You know it's not. On the nights where you wish you had slept earlier, you know it's not. You know it's not a harmless habit. Be free today. In this moment of great pain, you can decide to be free. How? See clearly how much pain this is causing you. See clearly what you risk losing by continuing down this path, this behavior. This is the leverage you need to change. Say, I want to change and I can change. Because failing to change means I lose everything I value deeply in life, which is success, a life worth living, adventure, love, memories. When you have everything that matters to you at stake, Maria, you will change. That's exactly how I spoke to myself that night.
This deserves to be a speech.
This is my journal, and I removed a lot of the bad words as well. as well.
Thank you for sharing this. I know it's not easy to be that vulnerable, but this is leverage. This is exactly what we're talking about. Leverage, it's all of these emotions, all of these thoughts, all of this. When you capture yourself in that moment of pain, and you channel it to make change a must for you. Now, I know when people who care about you will tell you, but you're being hard on yourself. It's okay to enjoy the little pleasures of life. But actually, when you dim this leverage, you lose the fuel for change.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the fuel. Like if you take it, you let yourself feel the pain and let this pain fuel you to say no more.
Exactly. You know, the crazy thing is what you're saying, like, we shouldn't dim this pain. We shouldn't say it's okay.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is the second day, when I woke up from that night, I was ready to scroll again. In our human nature, when we sleep, we rest. It's a good mechanism. It allows us to rest. We get past grief. We get past difficulties in life by sleeping. When I slept and I woke up the second day, I was ready to scroll again, which is crazy because I'm so pissed at myself and I'm so tired of this behavior that keeps repeating in my life. I was wondering, like, why am I so forgiving to this behavior? It's like living with an abuser and waking up the second day ready for another round of abuse, as if it's okay to live around it. And with reflection, I was like, what is this? What is this nasty voice in my head that tells me, let's check what happened when you were sleeping. Did you miss out on something? It's not that bad. Let's just check very quickly. Like, what is this voice? It's not that bad. What is that? And I was reading that book by Alan Carr. It's also about the phone use. And he said very clearly that society is under mass brainwashing, that it's okay to do what we're doing right now with excessive scrolling and doom scrolling. We think it's okay. It's not that bad. And I'm hearing this brainwashing in my head, this voice. It just reminded me of what happened in the beginning of the 90s. Doctors and scientists were telling people smoking is healthy. Mass brainwashing. People actually believed that smoking was healthy in the 90s.
True, they were making ads showing like doctors prescribing cigarettes.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's so funny,
Yeah.
but it's like less than 100 years ago.
So many people paid the price. Exactly. And I say this to everybody now, this doom scrolling with what's happening, the violence happening today in the world, and watching all those graphic content. The second day, you're going to feel the urge to check again. My advice is abstain. For an hour or two, a day or two, just abstain. Don't check. The urge to check, to be constantly informed in the loop, is going to go down. And that's just my advice on the doom scrolling the second day. If you want to stop, just abstain for a day.
And most of the content, that's the funny part, most of the content that you decide not to watch, a few days later will become obsolete because new things will happen.
True.
So anyway, it doesn't matter if you watch it or not.
True. Exactly.
Yeah, you know, when you talk about doom scrolling, all this impact on our health and our focus and on our bodies, it makes me remember the book with the Winner Effect.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the backstory. The London Blitz is a period during World War II when Nazi Germany bombed London and other British cities from the air. So German planes every night would go over London and would drop bombs on civilian areas, like on streets, on homes, on hospitals, on schools. And during that period, about 40,000 people were killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a period that lasted around 8 months. Like imagine going to bed every night, not knowing if you will wake up the next day or if your house will be still standing.
Yeah.
And the air raids happened at night. Mainly because for the planes to hide in the dark skies, but also this created a feeling of terror in people's hearts because they are constantly in a state of fear and anticipation. So what happens? Before the bombs fell, there was a siren that goes, the siren sound that goes on, It's like this wailing, rising and then falling sound that is just to tell the people danger, danger, danger. It's like this sound that tells people something terrible is gonna happen. Go hide, go run, go to the shelters. So women grabbed their sleepy babies and ran to the shelters. Families went in masses to the underground tunnels. And so now their brain linked this siren with danger. So what happens whenever now they hear the sound, the siren, whether the bombs fell or not, they felt their hearts racing. You're talking about the sound of your heart racing. They felt this fear in their hearts because now the siren means danger, whether there's a bomb or there's no bomb.
Yeah.
In psychology, we call it conditioned stimulus. It's when something triggers your fear, even if it's not what you're actually scared of. All of this stress, all of this fear, day after day, took a toll on their bodies and on their brains. Now they have, so yes, they were sweating and everything, but now they have high cortisol levels. Their immunity system crashed. They started getting sick. They had coated arteries. For some people who felt complete loss of control, even parts of their brain shrinked.
I remember watching the documentary. It was scary.
Yeah, it is really, really scary.
We're still living this today, crazy, but yeah. Yeah, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
We're still living this.
Yeah, with the wars in the world, like still the same. But yeah.
You're starting to see the link why I remember this story. Yeah, exactly. The good part is that there's another sound. Basically, when people woke up the next day, they heard another signal, a sound that is monotone and low tone. And this sound was like the all clear sound.
The?
All clear siren. Okay. Basically, this is when the other siren, the rising and falling, would signal danger. This monotone sound would signal safety.
Okay.
It's like a sigh of relief. It's like telling people now you can go out. It's daylight again, and there are no planes in the skies, and you're safe. So now you have a siren that signals danger, a siren that signals safety, and the best part is that this safety signal is not just to tell people, oh, you're safe now. This safety signal actually acted as an antidote to all the damaging effect of stress. Their cortisol levels went down. Their arteries went back to normal. Even some parts of their brain cells regenerated.
Interesting.
So that safety signal is healing for the brain and for the body.
Yeah.
And so when we make the parallel with today, with doom scrolling, have you ever watched the news and watched something hopeful or something about being grateful or something positive?
No.
Never.
News, no.
Exactly. Because as I said earlier, what bleeds leads. That's how their business model works. And so we live in a world where that siren, that danger siren, is everywhere. When we doom scroll everywhere in our house, you doom scroll when you're in bed, you doom scroll when you're laying on the couch, you doom scroll when you're cooking in your kitchen, you doom scroll when you're in the toilet. Now your brain makes the link between the phone, the doom scrolling, and stress. And wherever you are in your house, there's no safety zone anymore.
You hear the siren in every room, in every space. I hear, like you've illustrated it so perfectly. It's like I was hearing the siren in my head, an air raid siren.
Yes.
Danger, danger, danger. Yeah, when I was scrolling, and I was in my room, which is supposed to be a safe space.
Exactly. And you don't have a safe space anymore because you've doom scrolled everywhere in the house.
Interesting.
Just like the Londoners, they had all of these effects when the siren went on, even if there were no bombs that got dropped. In the same way, we start getting our anxiety and our fear triggered when we are in certain situations or in certain rooms or in certain spaces where we've doom scrolled, even when we don't doom scroll. That's why sometimes you might feel edgy, you might feel fast heartbeats, you might feel irritated, even though you didn't doom scroll that day. Because now they're getting triggered by the conditioned stimulus, by the siren.
Yeah, so every space has now anxiety in it.
Exactly.
There's like a siren in it. It sounds like also that research that was done on working from home if you work next to your bed. I don't know if you remember it. It was something about if you have anxious work and you bring it into that room, you're going to feel anxiety in that room. Even if you're not working, you're going to feel anxious in your bed. It's the same thing.
Yes. Because the brain makes the link. The brain makes the link between different things because it looks for shortcuts to scan for danger and to be alert. So if there are patterns, always anxious in your room, now your room makes you anxious.
If you doom scroll in your room, you're going to feel anxiety in your room.
Exactly.
It's the same as the idea of a constant siren in our head is reminding me of that guy we met in Las Vegas also. He was from Israel, if you remember, and he was translating a very known book from English to Hebrew.
Yes.
He was sitting next to us and he told us that he can't get off his phone because he's so worried all the time. He's stressed all the time because of what's happening. And he would find himself working and then picking up his phone and checking the media outlets every 5 minutes. And he said that he can't focus and he's already not doing well with the translation because he's very stressed and he has kids and he's very anxious and he can't stop checking the news every 5 minutes. And it's like, as you're saying, it's like in the past when war would be happening, people would regroup around the radio. Like, come everybody, it's on, they're saying the news. And we would all hear it, then the news on the radio, and then it would turn off and gone. We would have, as you called, a safety space, window, period. But now, the siren, the radio, the news is on all the time in our head. There's no more safe space. That guy had no more safe space. The doom scrolling was everywhere. The news media was everywhere in every room. It interrupted everything. There's no more, as you call, the safety signal to heal, to rest.
Exactly.
And not to be in this chronic stress mode.
Definitely.
That's very interesting. Nicole, do you have anything for our audience now that we understand that we're doom scrolling for certainty and we're not getting it, and we see how much it really impacts our life? Do you have any guidelines or questions that could guide our audience to find their leverage?
Yes, of course. It's everything we talked about so far. But if we want to put them in questions, basically, so as we said, leverage is when you have something that threatens your needs. So take an example of a digital behavior that you want to change and you want to find leverage for it. Imagine yourself not changing it. And you just have to ask yourself these simple questions. Like, what happens if I don't change? What will this habit cost me? What happens if I can't regulate my emotions? What is likely to happen if I don't have good quality sleep? Where am I going in my life if I stay distracted like that? If I stay unfocused like that? Am I ever going to reach my dreams? Am I ever going to reach my goals? Ask yourself, what happens if I continue down this path? What will this cost me? Will my children be proud? Will I be able to take care of my children? Maybe. But will they feel my presence? Will they look up to me? Ask yourself, where are you going 10 days from now if you continue down this path? Where are you going 10 months from now? Or 10 years from now? Where is this habit gonna lead you? What is this habit costing you? And check what are the needs that are being threatened by this habit. Write them down. How am I losing my needs when I do this habit, when I continue down this habit 10 years from now? And in this moment of pain, in this moment of imagining all the things you're paying, just by not changing this habit, tell yourself no more. Not another minute, not another second, not another day of this habit, because I am jeopardizing my own life, my own future, my own potential.
Yeah.
And I'm bleeding my potential. You said it in the beginning, and I love this sentence. I'm bleeding my potential to a screen.
Yeah. When you see it clearly 10 days from now, 10 months from now, how it costs you, you can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it.
But you have to clearly feel it and understand it and reflect on it.
Go on a rant. Go on a rant. I will not do this behavior again for this reason and this reason and this reason. Just like you wrote in your note, just jot down every reason for you to not grab it again or to not be sucked again into this habit that you want to remove.
Yeah. And as you said, the leverage, the switch is going to happen when you hit something that threatens your most important need, the thing you value the most.
Yes.
That's going to switch everything. And as always, we'll be here with you. Use technology. Don't let it use you. Thank you for tuning in. We wish you freedom and success.